Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Soul Speak with me. I am Melissa Amos, and I am here this evening to talk to you about the Akashic Records. So, as always, I am just going to allow for everybody to come on live. As you are here, come and say hey. Last week we had a little issue with the comments, and I'm hoping that this week we see them. But I'm going to keep my phone on here, and hopefully they will come up. Right, let's start here. I am getting confused because I've got my laptop going on. Okay, so as you come on, come and say hello. Let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, we've got an hour together today, and we are going to discuss all things Akashic. So I want to know, what are your experiences with it? What do you know about it? What do you want to know about it? And how can I help? Do you even know what it is? There's my question. Right, I can see a few of you coming on live and a few hearts. Do pop a little comment in there, because I just want to make sure that my comments are working, because as always I would love to answer any questions. I appreciate, out of all of the topics we have spoken about, this is probably one of the biggest. I normally run a 3-hour workshop on this, so how on earth we're going to get it done in an hour, who knows, but we will get it done as well as we can. So yeah, pop your comments on there. That's my start. So the Akashic Records, what are they? Well, for me, they are this energetic library that holds everything that us as a soul have ever thought, said, done, acted upon over the course of its whole existence. So not just what we've done here in this lifetime, not even what we just remember, but everything that we have ever experienced as a soul. And when we're talking about a soul, this takes into account reincarnation, past lives, in-between lives, higher self stuff, all of that. So I can see a few of you are coming on. It's unfortunately not coming up on this screen, but I will keep an eye on my phone as well, and hopefully it will pop in, start to pop in there, because that will certainly be easier. Okay, so that's what it is. It is an energetic superhighway of information. So you can think about the internet as a superhighway, which records everything. You know, everything that we've ever done online is recorded there somewhere. And all you need are the right keys or codes, I suppose, in order to, revisit them or gain access or check the browsing history, so to speak. And the Akashic Records are the same. Okay, I'm going to be looking this way to read your comments, because they're only coming up on my phone. So Max said, as you know, I've delved into them quite a few times. They are fascinating. I'm going to study them next month. Yeah, it is very fascinating. And for me, I've been working in the records for I'm going to say coming up to 5 years now. And since I started working in the records, for me, how I work in them and how I show up in them and the information that I'm being given in them is always evolving and moving and changing. And why is that? Is because we are always evolving, moving and changing. And I think that the Akashic Records aren't just a thing. It's not just like reading a book, which for every person who enters them is going to see the same thing, because it's a energetic space that's, we open through energy, we open through vibration. So based upon the energy of us and the reader or the seeker will depend on what is given to us. Hopefully that makes sense. So how do you get into them? So, okay, let me backtrack a little bit. Who can access them? So for me, the records are accessible by anybody who has the intent and the correct vibration. I want to say that, and I don't mean that in an ego way or anything like that, but somebody who has that energetic resonance with the records, who has that pure intention to be able to go in to want to discover and learn and grow and heal, for me, has access to the records. Now, what do I mean by that? The records are actually held by a series of guides, masters, maybe gatekeepers, teachers, however you want to experience that. And there is a kind of hierarchy with that. So as long as you have a relationship with your guidance team, and you have a meditation practice, and you've been looking at your traits and your shadows and your all the stuff that goes on for us every day, and you're aware of all that and allowing to be non-judgmental of that, I think then you're going to be allowed in. Because then we are moving and speaking and communicating with our guidance team, with the gatekeeper, if you like, of our record space, to help us understand more of who we are. I think honestly in the past that the records were very guarded. I think they're still held and protected. But I think in the past it was very much that only certain people can go into them. And you may have famously heard of Edgar Cayce, who did a lot of clairvoyant work in the late 1800s. And he was I think he was the first person to coin the term of the Akashic Records. And I think back then, people were, it was right that we couldn't all get in because our vibration was different. Whereas now, as we are awakening and we are growing, and as our consciousness is expanding, as our vibration is getting higher, as we are becoming more conscious beings, we're becoming closer to that resonance of the records. So therefore, naturally, it's going to open up for us. Now, like I said, you need to have the right intention. You need to have the right vibration. And what do I mean by that? So as I said, the records hold everything. So literally every single thought, every act, every deed, every want, every desire, the things that we keep hidden at home, the things that happen behind closed doors, all of that is contained in the records. Now, if I wanted to go in just to be nosy, just to discover, I wonder what, she's been doing or he's been doing, or I wonder, what's making them behave like that, then I'm not going to be able to get into the records because it's not healing. It's not, pure intentional discovery. It's nosing around in someone's space. And I believe that your record keepers or your gatekeepers will only let you in if you're coming in with that space of, okay, you know what? It doesn't matter what I find out in here. I'm not going to judge it. It doesn't matter even if I, discover that I had some, deep, dark desires, or, that something's been rising up in me that I don't agree with, or that doesn't agree with society, or, that my friends will judge me for. Because the records hold all of that, right? So if I was going in really from a sense of judgment, then that's not resonant with the information that I'm going to do. What is going to get me in is I want to heal, I want to discover, I want to grow from this. I want to bring forgiveness or understanding. I want to bring myself out of these karmic patterns or loops. I want to raise the vibration of something that's been sitting in the shadows there for so long. I want to bring light to the hurt that I experienced and many others like me experienced. I want to step out of this, cycle of sabotage or doubt or fear. And not through cutting that part away from me or rejecting that part of me, but through bringing light and bringing love to it, We come in with that attitude and the doors will open. Mac has said, it's been mentioned before about not feeling safe. What if any dangers or difficulties are involved with them? Okay, that's a really good question. I will cover that. And hi, Beth and Kerry, nice to see you. My experience with them is that I understand why, for example, a certain block is so strong in my life. Exactly. So for me, the records hold everything, and I want to say that there's a few different aspects of the records. It's not just a personal space. Actually, everything has a record. Anything that is here of this earth has a record. So whether that's something physical, like an oracle deck, or even a crystal, or even this live, all has a record, because it all contains an energetic space. What I'm interested is in our records, our personal records, but also the collective records, because what I do, what do they say? No man is an island. What I do is going to have an effect on others too. And I think, and what's been coming to me actually a lot more recently, and I think this is just as I've been opening my vision and understanding of it, is that there is this other layer of the Akashic Records, like known as the Akash, which is like this collective energetic space that kind of lives in the earth, that has been holding all of this collective consciousness. Now, my belief is that as we change our individual ones, it will have a resonance over the collective consciousness. And my belief is also that as we rise and as we grow our crystalline bodies, and, as we bring a raising and a vibration and an understanding, as these things come out of the shadows, that field, that Akash that lives in the earth, that's held in there, that is influencing us. Of course, it is influencing us now. As all of that, as all of this healing grows, my belief is that Akash will start to change. That Akashic field will start to grow with us. Because let's face it, the last how many hundreds of years, we as humans have really lived in a space of disempowerment and of trauma. And, in a world where there is war and fighting and battles and, these awful things, and we hold that trauma in some way. Now, why do our records hold all of this? Not to punish us, but that it's energy. And energy cannot be destroyed or created. Energy can only be moved from one state to another. So maybe it is that we are here, the fact that the records are opening up for us more and more. Maybe it is that we are here to help move and transmute and change those things that are going on personally for us. To change those fears into opportunities. To understand that those things that caused us pain and trauma and emotion and doubt and hurt in the past don't necessarily have to be. But right now, if we're not paying attention to them, they're resonating in our field and having an effect on us. So Max said about her experience is that when she works in the records, it helps her understand what is the energetic cause of the block. That's exactly the sort of thing that we can work in the records for. Because everything's contained in there, and it's all very well saying, I'm just going to go in and discover this. But if we go in with that intention of, I want to understand why I feel this fear every time I do something. And then we go in and we request that information from our guides, from our team, with the intention of resolving it or healing it. That for me, what I receive then is the initial incident or the biggest incident of what happened. And that can be so simple. That can sometimes be an understanding of, okay, well, of course I am scared to speak out about something, because when I spoke out in the past, I got exited from the tribe. Of course, I can't say when I disagree with something, because when that happened before, I got rejected and I starved to death. Of course, I don't feel like I can earn the money that I need, because last time I had the money, I misused it and caused suffering. You know, all of these things are held in there, and sometimes it is just a case of shining that light on that incident, of bringing that into our awareness. And our job is to not judge that, even if it does show that we had the power once and we misused and abused it. That, you know, we live in this polarity. Maybe one time we came as a slave, which is going to cause a whole load of issues, but maybe another time we came as the master, who abused the slave, who hit the slave, who had that sense of entitlement. And you know what? That will bring a whole load of other issues too. Now, here's my belief. I wasn't going to talk about karma, but it's coming up. Is that in the past, that is, you know, the law of karma has been a very heavy energy for us humans. And that we've been here in this cycle to help resolve, you know, what's been going on. But maybe now we're coming out of that karmic loop. And I spoke in I spoke in one of the other sessions, I think, about the law of attraction, that we're coming into a state of co-creation. And that actually we are way more empowered now than we ever were before. And rather than surrendering or residing to the fact that this is the energy that is pushing us forward and this is the energy that is guiding us, now we are really much in this space of, okay, where can I bring my conscious awareness to something, and how can I move that forward and make it something that is better for me, better for society, better for humanity. That makes sense? I am keeping an eye on the comments on here, because on here they are not coming up, which is a bit disappointing, Facebook. Okay, so hopefully, does that make sense? Any questions on that so far? So what information does it hold? I've said that it holds everything. I am not exaggerating. It does hold everything. But what should we be interested in or concerned about, or why on earth would we even bother to go into this field? Because let's face it, it's been there forever. So why all of a sudden is it such a big buzz? So the records contain everything, but more importantly for me, they contain those deep held beliefs. They help us understand, you know, why we believe a certain thing, good or bad, you know, high vibration or low, popular or not. And it can really help us understand what it is that has caused us to have this value or this belief around things. It can help us understand those repeating patterns of behavior. So why do I keep on self-sabotaging myself? Why do I, you know, have an unhealthy relationship with food? Things like phobias. Why am I scared of water or of heights? Or, you know, also karmic relationships. I think we spoke about this before. Why do I have one relationship with one person and another relationship with another? Why does, you know, me and my son feel like we've known each other for lifetimes, and this one can never do it right and this one can never do it wrong, or whatever? That information can all be held in there. Also that, you know, when you meet people and you're like, wow, I know them, we can work with the records to help find out about that. It can help us understand about our bodies, because I do very much believe that our bodies are the physical manifestation of energy. So it can help us understand about chronic illnesses, reoccurring illnesses. I'll give you an example. you know how Facebook does that thing where it tells you like your memories from the year before? I've had for the last 4 years, and it still comes up despite me doing this, on the same day, more than once in the year, but on the same day, a sore throat. And the only reason I know this is because one year I put on, I'm getting a cold, I feel like I'm getting a cold. And then another year I put on, I just started getting into Neil's yard, and I think I took a picture of my home remedies or something. And then another year I put on, so I don't normally say when I'm sick, but I just happened to do that. Or I was like, I'm working this crystals day, or, I wrote something. And then the following year, so on the 4th year, I looked at my memories, and it said, and I was like, wow, and I had a sore throat on that day, and I was like, wow, I have had a sore throat on this day for 4 years in a row. That is not a coincidence. And you know what it's like here in the UK, that our seasons are quite sporadic, and, it's not like on the same week of every year things, there's suddenly a temperature change. There's often that degree of flexibility there. So curious me wondered why. So of course I went into my records and asked that question. Is this something that I need anymore? What's going on? And without going into too many details, I've just got released there. Without going into too many details, I discovered that on that day, I, should we say, lost my head. Let's just say that. And so that makes sense, right? That what's going on there, there's some sort, yes, it wasn't this body, but there's some sort of cellular memory going on there. There's some sort of reminder. Now, what happens when I know this? Did it make it miraculously go away? Like I said, I still received it the next year. So this year, when that date came along and I came up on my Facebook memories, and I was like, oh, look, there it is again. And I still had that kind of, that feeling. And I was like, okay, you know what? You're safe now. Thank you for reminding me how much you care. And I sent some Reiki and I did some healing back. And then it goes. I don't get attached on to, oh no, I'm getting sick and I'm getting poorly. So I'm doing the work with it. I'm understanding where that's come from. And I'm using it to help me get on with my life. Good practical tip. So good old Facebook. If you want to put things like that on, like I hate putting on that I'm sick. I did it, but I did it again where I've just put it on like private, so no one else can see it, but it will still come up on my memories. So these are, certain things that you can do. I wonder if anyone else has something similar to that. Okay, what else? Where was I? What else is held in there? Things like your spiritual development. Why do I get so far? Why do I find it really hard to meditate? Why am I so good at yoga when only I picked it up last week? Why am I, do I have this ability to see, but I don't have this ability to hear? Well, why can I download all of this information but find it so hard to speak it out? All of that stuff is in there. And here's the biggie, this is the one most people come to me for, is life purpose. It is in there. It can help us understand. And if you go in and say, what's my life purpose? Will you see a book that says, go and run a company making handbags? Not necessarily. Oh, it doesn't work like that for me, but it will give you these ideas, these feelings. Well, what do I need to work on? What blocks am I coming through? Because for me, that often is what your life purpose is, to help you move through challenges, to help you, become a higher vibrational human, to help you have certain experiences rather than for you to do a certain job. Maybe your life purpose is to learn patience, or learn compassion, or learn unconditional love. Maybe your life purpose is to find your voice so that you can teach others. Maybe your purpose is to come through your own blocks so that you can help others do the same. Maybe your purpose is to bring hope onto the planet. Or maybe your purpose is to bring hope to that one person, that child, that parent, that lover, that brother. For me, people often think, my purpose has to be my job. How can my purpose be stacking shelves in the supermarket? But it's not always as simple as that. Sometimes that job will help you develop that skill of humility or of understanding or of, I don't know, and maybe there's something there. But all of that is contained in the records. And how is it contained? Often through our past life experiences. So that's how it works for me. When I go in the records, I get a kind of like a video, I suppose, or like a download of information that says, well, this is where I was, and this is what I did, and this is what I had. This is how I showed up, and this is what happened to me. And then from there, we're like, okay, where's that leading to? What's next? What's the lesson in that? What's the essence? Where can I grow from that? How can I stop that happening again? Or how can I use that to bring more understanding to where I am now? Beth, life purpose can be many things. That's what I have experienced. Can you give your opinion, please? Yeah, absolutely. I think that we have this quite boxed in view of what life purpose is. But for me, it can be, it can be on changing our emotional selves, changing the way that we think or react or feel about things. It can be changing the way that we respond to others. It can be, breaking through these blocks. It can be making that invention, changing the world, finding the next way to communicate, being the next president or the next, CEO that's going to completely change the way that society works. Yes, it can be that, but often it's more personal than that. Because like I said at the beginning, when we're focusing on our growth and on our understanding, on our non-judgment, on our way of how can I expand and become a more luminous human, that is going to have an effect on the Earth's Akash. Right? As my light grows, it must be that the light of everything else grows. And also what I found is that as I step into my purpose, and what do I mean by that? As I smash through my barriers, my self-imposed barriers, as I bring light into my shadow, as I bring acceptance into the wholeness of who I am, and as I just, share and be in my truth, that then I end up helping other people. Because it has to be, because otherwise why would I hold those understandings? Why would I be there if I wasn't to open up and share that? Right? And people say it. Oh, I see you do it, and now it gives me permission to do it. Because we are all connected. I'm not sure if that answered your question. But yes, life purpose can be many things. I think, people look at somebody like Steve Jobs or, some of the others and think, well, or especially us on the spiritual path, we look at people thinking, well, surely my job is to be a healer. Surely my purpose is to be an angel reader. Surely my purpose is to be a Reiki teacher. Maybe that's not your purpose. That's a way of showing up to your purpose. Your purpose is most probably to find peace, to bring healing, to integrate, to bring love into this, to help this other person, to bring a smile to their face, to give somebody else a reason to love and grow and live. I think it's often our purpose is bigger and smaller than we think. But the records can help you understand more about, well, why is it that I am here with these unique, and we're all unique, with these unique understandings and ways of showing up, and fears and doubts and values and all of that. For me, that's the magic. Okay, any questions on that so far while I take a refreshment break? You obviously all just enjoying me talking. Okay, so this is all very well, right? We can use the records as a I don't know, something where we can find out this information. But for me, it's so much more than that. Because yes, we can find out why we feel about a certain way about a relationship, why we have money struggles, why it's all or nothing, why I have certain beliefs about my body, why I had, why I feel this way about myself, why I struggle with empowerment issues, or whatever it is, right? We can use the records to gain access and to understand it, but it's so much more than that, because it's this energetic superhighway. It's malleable, it's ever changing. And even as we're speaking about this and we're bringing understanding, we're bringing energy into our records. And as we bring energy into it, we can start to make changes. Because it's not just a case of, oh, okay, well, I was drowned as a witch in 200 years ago, so I'd better stay here and, stay safe in my cave and not come out. We can look at that information, which isn't just personal to me. Yes, it happened to me or it happened to you, and that will cause, effects and karma and everything. But this we hold on a collective level. So by going in there and bringing that healing, bringing that understanding, not just to me, but the understanding to the people that perpetrated this, for those that betrayed me, for bringing forgiveness into that, bringing, understanding, forgiveness, healing into that space, we can start to move on from it. And as we do that, it lightens up the hold it has on us as a community, as a species, as a planet. Because for every one of us that unhooks that experience, that brings healing, that goes, you know what, I'm not going to let that weigh me down anymore. I'm not going to allow that to be my truth anymore. And how do I do that? I bring love and light and understanding into it. I transmute that energy from that of fear and doubt into courage and strength. And then that makes a change personal to me. But then it starts to make a change bigger than that. Because as I do the work, I do it for everyone. And if you do the work, you do it for everyone. And that's not some big ego thing. That's just the way the resonance works. And I wonder if, we speak about purpose, I wonder if our purpose, our collective purpose now, is to change transmute, lift the energy that's held in our collective Akashic record. One that has been filled for the last, who knows how many years, of war and death and regret and disempowerment and judgment and separation and, you know, all this stuff that we have gone through. It's been heavy and hard, and it all sits there. But not anymore. Now we're here to move up and move through. Now we're here to heal that, pay off, is that the right word? That karmic debt. So that we can start to co-create. So that we can be in our luminous bodies. This is why this wisdom's coming to us now. You know, you think about Reiki. What's that? 150 years old since it's been rediscovered. And now, how many hundreds of thousands more of people are attuned to Reiki now? Why? Because all of these people are here to be healers and full-time Reiki practitioners? No. So that we can lift and heal and bring understanding and bring those principles into us. You think about, you know, crystals. Why are they suddenly all popping up everywhere? Why is every, you know, shop, high street, I say as I sit in one, why has every high street got a crystal shop in there, and people are getting drawn to them, and even the kids, you know, even the unicorns are coming up, all the girls are wearing their unicorn tops. Why are all these things coming up? Because they're all here to help us raise our vibration. The Reiki, this beautiful medicine that's now available to us in the West. Why? So that we can grow and rise and become stronger and become more empowered, and to live in the energy of love and not in the energy of fear. Beth said, magic, yes, you answered it. It's a difficult one because it can be so much more and can change over this lifetime. Yeah, I suppose it also depends on what area of your life you want to know about. Yeah, because it's vast. And it's funny, right? Because people will come to me and say, and I'll say, you know, what is it that you're working on? What should we, you know, what we're going to discover? And they say, oh, I really want to know why it is that I, you know, always sabotage myself in relationships. And I'm like, okay, so we can start working on that. And then they'll often say, oh, and I'd also quite like to know why I don't know, lose my voice in, you know, in this situation, or why I can't stand up for myself at work. And I'm like, okay, let's see. And it's funny how these things can be linked. It's like the clients know on some instinctual level that whatever it is it's like it's all packed up in one incident, or, you know, a series of incidents that are somehow related. And as we start to unpack that, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. And all of these past life, like, is this karma? All of these past life incidences come into our present as part of our purpose, so that we can move through and transcend it. So yes, a lighter energy for the planet collective. We are moving into energy of support for each other and enlightening each other. We're moving into oneness. Exactly, we are moving away from separation. And this is the thing with the records. And I said to you at the beginning that, you know, I'm finding that as I'm working in the records more, and as my awareness and my understanding gets bigger, and I guess as the personal work I'm doing on myself gets you know, lighter or whatever, that things are showing up differently for me. But one of the things that I've really learned is that the less judgment I have, and we all have judgments from whatever reason, but the less judgment I have, the more I work on, well, you know, something comes up and, well, is that true? Is that just a belief, or is there something deeper than that? That more things get shown to me, because why would the guardians of the record show me something that I would disregard, or that I would judge, or that I would, you know, dismiss as a, oh, you're obviously a bad person then. Because this is coming into oneness, and oneness isn't just the love and light stuff. Oneness is oneness. Oneness is the dark and the light, the good and the bad, the, you know, the beauty and the ugly, the slave and the master, the wealth and the poverty. It's all of that. And often I think on this spiritual path we think, well, it's just about one end of it, and it's, you know, it's like, well, let's break off that one. But I wonder if the reason why it's been so much about positive, about, you know, bringing so much light in, is because there was so much dark in, and it's starting to bring it together. But that's not about, well, I'm the light so I judge the dark, because you can't, because then you won't be shown the dark. You'll go in the records and the guides will, you know, not to be arsey, but the guides will be like, no, you can't see that, because you'll judge it and you'll reject it, and then it's just going to be pushed further in the dark. But as you become more aware and accepting, and you think, well, you know what, maybe I was a bully in the past life, maybe I was a, you know, murderer, or you know, I abused my power. Maybe I was all of those things. But that doesn't need, you know, that doesn't need to be true for now. And for me, it's not about changing that. It's not about going, oh, well, I'll scrub that out my records. Don't want that in there. Because then I wouldn't have learnt from it and grown from it. Then how would I know that if I had a taste of power, that there's a chance that I might, you know, take that too far, that I, you know, because we've been so disempowered for so long. And if in the records, you know, it's holding that sense of disempowerment, then you find yourself here in this role where you have a bit of power. Maybe part of that lesson is, well, I bring that in a balanced way. I don't go overboard, which might be a tendency because we've felt so weak in the past. You know, you see it with kids, right? If they're not given any choices, if they're not given any power, then the moment that they, you know, get anything, they want to, might just be my kids, but the moment they want to take give them, you know, as they say, give them an inch and they take a mile. That's not because they're horrible, it's because it's like, oh, I'm going to call that back, because you're trying to bring that balance into that. I don't know, am I going off topic? Okay, any other questions, experiences, concerns? I have to keep looking at my phone because they're not coming up, and I think there's a delay. So let's talk about how we access them, because I've started to say that I think that it's becoming available for many of us now. So how do we get in? So for me, there's many ways. I think in the past it was very much that you had to have gone through a set of rites and rituals and, you know, lessons, and like to prove yourself, I suppose, which, like I said before, I think that was right for the you know, for the consciousness of the planet. But you can go into the records through a very simple meditation. This is about, you know, you want to protect your energy. So I would always start with the platinum shield, which I've spoken about in some of my other videos before. But I would start with the platinum shield, which grounds us like multi-dimensionally from the earth to the heart of the universe. I would, you know, get yourself in that space of receptivity. Here's the key. Let go of any expectations, let go of any ego, let go of any, you know, judgment. And imagine yourself in whatever way you can going through the door with that intention that I'm going into my records. And when you first go in, just go in with this state of curiosity, with this intention of acceptance. Speak to a guide or a gate. Ask to meet your gatekeeper. I like to go through my gatekeeper and let him know your intentions. Go through the door. Ask your question. And then be ready to receive in whatever way you receive. And all of us will receive differently. But here's a clue. Is that what I found that with the records, they're this energetic space. And if you just go in, this is for me anyway, if you just go in and you're kind of silent and you're, there's no sounds, if you're doing a private meditation for you, that things can just almost start to fall. So for me, I like to speak it out, that's my preference, or write it out. So you want to build up the energy. You want to have some movement in there, because for me, if I come in and I start with a scene or with a with a download, it needs to start moving in order for that story to continue. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to go, okay, like, where's that taking me? Where did I move forward from that timeline? How's that showing up for me now? What can I do to help that? What lesson is coming up for me? Because when you're in there, you won't, in my experience anyway, you won't be shown things that are just like, well, there we go, have that. They're being shown to help you to move and to grow. So meditation is one way of going in. You can also access the records using crystals. So this is a Lemurian seed, and these are pretty good really for quite specific records. This will take you into the Lemurian energy, and I don't know if you can see, there's like these barcodes on there, and they're said to be records, and so you can go in and meditate with that. Another good stone, I'm not sure you'll be able to see this, but this is lepidolite, and you can see it's got this is polished, but it's got a kind of faceted almost top, or any of those crystals that have got triangles. If you find those crystals with triangles, rubies are awesome for it. Then you can meditate with the crystal and ask for it to take you into that space. I also find I've got this petrified wood sphere, which is brilliant for going into the records, because the sphere is about there is no past, present or future, and the petrified wood is that ancient energy. So I find that one a really wonderful crystal to use to get in. And you can bring that crystal to your third eye, you can hold it, or you can ask it. So you can journey with the crystal and ask for it to take you into that space. So that's also a good way of getting in. There are certain prayers. So when I first started, I worked with Linda Howe's prayer, and that got me in very easily. It's nice and simple, and I can't give that to you because it's not mine to give, but you can certainly look that up online. Beth says she uses theta meditation to go into the Akashic Records. So there's many, many ways. If you do Reiki, you can also use the distance symbol to help you return back. Because what does the distance symbol mean? There is no past, present or future. There is only now. So you can actually work with that to move in there. And you can use cards. So this is the Akashic Tarot card deck, and they're like little, I'll show you a card. You can use any card deck really, but these ones are designed for that, so they hold that energy. So you can use the cards as like a was like a portal into that. So you can ask for that image to start to move through you. You can, hold it and do it with like a psychometry, or just start journeying with the card. But please go in with a specific intention, a healing intention, and be open to the information that's available to you. Try and let go of the ego. It's funny, that view of the ego card. Let go of the ego and the expectations, and just be gentle with yourself. The more you work with it, and the more you trust it, and the more you build up that relationship with your guides, the more information you'll get. I just remembered that Mac asked a really good question at the beginning. It has been mentioned before about not feeling safe. What are any dangers or difficulties are involved with that? That is a really good question, because, most of what we've been speaking about is, it's all very positive, and yeah, you can go in. But here's the thing. This is a very sacred space, and it's a space that needs to be revered, and it's sacred. You can't just go in and just start changing things willy-nilly, deleting things, pulling things out of your book, disregarding things, cutting things away, because these are going to have a knock-on effect with them. Also, if you're working with other people and you start going, right, I'll cancel that out. I'll cancel that out for you. Let's pretend that never happened. You could start taking on their karma, and you know you've got enough of your own. You don't need that. So you want to make sure that you're always working in a safe space. Here's something else that's coming up for me. I said to you at the beginning about working with the Platinum Shield and making sure you create that safe space before you go in, and being very clear and direct with your intention. Sometimes I think that what we are receiving when we go in there is not from the records, it's some, hologram or something else that's coming in. So you make sure that you create the sacred space. Imagine like you are going in to the most sacred church or, religious temple. You wouldn't go in there wearing your pajamas and your hair all scruffy and, your breath all stinky. You'd go in with reverence and respect. You'd be quiet, you'd be listening, you'd be, feeling the vibration. You'll be taking in the moment. You'd be going in with your whole being and your whole body. Which, if you've created that sacred space in the way that you do, for me, the Platinum Shield is great. You can, work with the directions or with the animal guardians. There's many ways, lighting a candle, creating a grid around you. There's many different ways to do it, but you must create a safe space. Know what you're doing, yeah. I've given you some tips on how to do this. Oh, here's one. Don't go into anyone else's records. Really, it's none of your business. You go into your own space. Even if this is about a relationship with somebody else, you go into your records to bring understanding, to bring healing. And before at this stage, if you haven't really been working with them for very long, just go in with curiosity and trust that the light that you're shining upon, the situations that are being revealed to you are enough to bring the healing. If you practice things like Reiki or some sort of energy healing, or Ho'oponopono, or the violet flame, or if you're working with certain practices, of course you can bring them into that space. Why? To bring healing and to lift the energy. Just know that everything is connected, and always refer to the guides, because the masters and the teachers of the records, they know more than us. They can see things from a higher level, and whilst I might think that I need to lose this or change this or cut this person out of my life, or have, go back and change a decision that I made. Actually, maybe by doing that, it's caused a knock-on effect with, 30,000 other people that I just didn't have that awareness of. So yeah, that's the best advice I can give you is treat it with respect and reverence. Don't make, I don't really make changes. When I first started, I did, and it was something that I'd read in a couple of books that you can, you can go in, you can change what happened, and I have done it, and I've done it with things in my own records. But as I've gone through it, it's like, why would I change it when it's something that happened and it had a lesson? But I can bring understanding and forgiveness and light to it. And that's going to create a bigger change than simply erasing it, pulling the page out of the book. That's what I think. So if you do want to work in there, these are your records. Just go in with love and with light, with curiosity, with understanding, and with love and with no judgment. And know that you've come here as a human to live on every single side of every single coin. But right now, you're not powerless to your past. Yes, you may be a product of your past, but you do not have to be locked into that. Actually, we are coming into a place of co-creation. We are coming to a world of enlightenment, of oneness, of unity. And so let's use this magical tool, this beautiful tool, to bring us back into unity with ourselves. Because as we show compassion and understanding and love to all of those aspects of us, regardless of what and who and how we did, we then automatically, by default, start to bring that love and unity and understanding to all of those around us too. And as we do that, we start to heal these separation issues. We start to realize that we are one. And maybe a conversation for another day, as we can understand that we can, maybe we all are one. Maybe we all are just facets of the same thing. But that is a conversation for another day. So I hope that you have enjoyed tonight's episode of Soul Speak. Next week, I am not going to be here. So I will be back here in 2 weeks' time. And what will we talk about? I want to hear your suggestions about what you would like to hear about. So drop them in the comments and let me know. And I will be back here in 2 weeks talking about who knows what, something very exciting, I'm sure. And if you are interested, on Wednesday we are going to be meeting back here, in the Zoom room, talking about the Akashic Records and returning to love. This was something that came downloaded to me when I was sitting there just with my breath, minding my own business, and I received this very strong guidance and this very strong visualization of working with the Earth's Akash to bring us back into love, to help us move through the traumas that we've all been through. So that is what we will be doing here on Wednesday. And if you're watching this after the date, the recording will be available via my website. Otherwise, please send me a message and I will get you on the list. I have been Melissa Amos. You have been a pleasure as always, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching.